Hey folks, it is the Nutty Knife Guy. I have gone with a budget blade for today. I based this purchase quite a bit on looks. Sorry about the background noise. I based this purchase basically on looks. And it is a cool looking blade. A bit more Hollywood than I usually get, but now this is the TechForce. Let's see, the TechForce Evolution TEF TEF FX 014 BRK. That's a mouthful. I will put a link to where I purchased it in the comments if you want it, because I know no one's going to want to remember all of that. I originally saw this on Amazon, but it was out of stock. And then I tracked it down because I thought it was a very attractive knife, and I did not know that TechForce even made fixed blades. I'm kind of a fan of their spring-assisted folders. But I don't know if these are new or they've been out there and I just didn't know about them. But they have a couple of different models of fixed blade, and they weren't easy to track down. I got this from Atlantic Knife. And I got to tell you, my expectations were low, but my hopes were high. I wanted this to be an exceptional knife. I wanted this to be something that I could carry on a daily basis, and it's not. I don't know how this knife is constructed, really. It is full tang, to the best I can say, the best I can tell. Do I have a high-tech tang detector handy? Let us see. Yeah. Okay. It does seem to be full tang. According to the magnet. And when I first got it, it rattled a little bit. I don't have that now, but what I did is it is attached with some hex screws, so I tightened those down. Probably shouldn't have. I probably should have seen how it was out of the box on there, but I heard the rattle and it kind of bugged me, and I really didn't want to break the knife, and so any structural instability needed to be taken care of. The grip is very grippy. It's rubber. It's kind of a rubberized thing. But this whole knife, in my opinion, needs to be about 25% bigger. It needs to be about an inch longer in the blade, about a half an inch wider. Just generally size this up by 25%. But that's different. This is 8CR13 stainless. Not bad for a budget knife. 5.75 inch blade, 10.5 inches overall. Tactical nylon sheath. There's that word again. Tactical. The nylon sheath is what it is. It is MOLLE compatible. I have to say this, that for nylon sheaths that come with budget knives, this is actually pretty good. The stitching is decent. There's a lot of stitching. The MOLLE's in there, and I did put some zip ties on this so I could carry it horizontally on my belt, and I did that for a couple of days, and that worked. I still like Kydex better because you don't have to fool with any snaps or anything like that, but it worked. I mean, the sheath works. tactical, I guess anything that's black and MOLLE compatible is tactical now. Haven't done any testing with this yet. It seems, except for that little rattle, it seems solid. But even though the grip is pretty solid, it feels just a little toyish, especially when you first get hold of it. And another thing, I have no proof of this, but if there is not a TacForce fixed blade out there that is double-edged dagger, then there's probably going to be very soon, because this handle belongs on a double-edged blade. And the reason I say this is it has these indentations here where your thumb goes for the credit card grip. Yeah, there. I know you guys can't hear this and you can't see it, but now I'm feeling that rattle again. Just a little bit. You can feel it, you can't really, it's so subtle you can feel it, but you can't hear it very well. I know you can't hear it in the camera, you have to be close to it to hear it. And you can't see it. But anyway, this is for the credit card grip, and that's typically double-edged. Maybe you can't hear that. Don't always get it. No, I don't think you can hear that. Anyway, my expectations were kind of low for this, but my hopes were high. I wanted it to be good because the TacForce spring-assisted folders for budget folders are usually quite good. They usually are of enough quality to serve your average person, average EDC use. And that's what I hope for this. This is the Evolution line, and it's made by the overall company called Master Company. Owns TacForce, owns Elk Ridge, owns M-Tech. So these Evolution line are supposed to be their higher tier brands. I don't know. This did come with a limited warranty, a lifetime. They say it's a lifetime warranty against factory defects, and I suspect that if you ever try to use the warranty, you would have to argue with them about exactly what factory defect is. So we'll go out to the war post and we'll do some knife stuff and some violating the warranty stuff and see how this holds up. I honestly don't know. The blade seems good. HCR13 is not a bad stainless if the heat treat is good. Rattle is concerning. We're just going to have to go out and see. And with that, I guess all there is out is to take the camera out to the war post and go to work. Okay, let's do the required Donnie B all day 4-foot drop test into my high-tech testing apparatus. Also cigar smoking stool. Not bad. Like I said, this thing is not flat, so I'll try to get it dead center. I'd say the balance on this is pretty good. It's getting good bite on these drops. Drop it straight and it hits in the right spot. We get a nice even stick. Can't complain about that. Okay, let's see if we can break the tip. Not really. I'm not trying to break the tip. We'll see if it breaks. Okay, well, tip was still nice and pointy and intact, which you can't see right at that point. You can get at least semi in focus. And now the war post. Okay, let's see how the Tex Forest model, whatchamacallit, fares against the dreaded water bottle and the mighty Warpost Mark II. Okay, that was not good. I have not sharpened this, and the sharpness could have been better. Let's try that again now. Yeah, that was better. First time this might have been me. Blade geometry is not the best cutter in the world. This is a kind of a thrust-centric knife. Hey man, yeah, I mean, that kind of speaks for itself. But that first time I just kind of glanced off. I didn't really first I didn't really have the, I hadn't really gotten used to gripping this knife yet. Okay, let's try the Warpost. That rattle is still there, and maybe even a little more pronounced. Feel a lot of shock in this handle. Now I will say this is a heck of a piercer. You can see this Warpost is pretty doggone heavy. Very thrust centric. Also much more comfortable in the reverse grip than the forward grip. But this tip is no joke. It's solid and it bites. If you're going to be using this for personal protection, which is really what this is for, this very much is a thrusting weapon. It has cutting ability, but it's meant to stab lizardmen, zombie ninjas. Okay, some good hard wax. Okay. Now, the steel is held up. The rattle that was there out of the box kind of comes and goes. I think it's just maybe because the rubber gives. Let's see about a vampire deterrent. We'll try feather sticking. Again, I gotta find the right angle with this because it seems to be sharp, but it's got a really steep bevel, and it's not doing well feather sticking at all. Let's try straight carving. Now, yeah, if you just want to bite, you can, but this is not a camping tool at all. And it did lose a substantial amount of its edge. Yeah, this is, when it comes to any kind of bushcrafting, this is not your knife. But, as I said, this is meant to be a fighter. And honestly, here, wait a second. Okay, get the angle and maybe the feather sticking is a little better than I initially thought. But it's still Yeah, you just got to get the angle with it so you can get this knot out of there. But I mean, its best practical use would be defending against lizardmen, zombie ninjas. But honestly, this is what I call a teenager knife. This brought out the inner teenager in me when I bought it. I just thought it looks cool, and it is. I mean, it's got that kind of a high-tech James Bond villain look. And that's really why I bought it for. It's going to go in a collection. If you just had to carry this for personal protection against lizardmen, zombie ninjas, you could. But we'll talk about that more downstairs. Okay. I'm a little cockeyed here, aren't I? Just a second. See if we can't make it less cockeyed. Now I'm out of the center. Now I'm working. Brilliant cinematography here, folks. Okay, this will have to do. Okay, so, and I will, like I said, I will put the model number of this thing in the description because they don't really have one of those cool names that's easy to remember. Now, it did pass the test. Once I got figured out how to hold it, it cut pretty well. No edge damage. And it did lose a little sharpness, I think, but a lot of the problem with the feather sticking was the very severe grind angle on the edge. I'm just going to talk. As I said, the sheath works, and that's about it. Okay. A lot of shock in the handle. The handle feels good when you're just holding it, but actually using it is a whole different animal. Even if you're wanting to fight, put it in a fighting grip, you really can't, because if you try to use saber grip, your thumb rides right up against here, and in a thrust that would jam up against this quillet, and the handguard, the quillets of the handguard in it would just be a disaster. The handshake grip is just awkward because it's just, the geometry is not, it's very unwieldy in the handshake grip. It has these things for a credit card grip, which, like I said, this hilt was intended for a double edge and would work much better for a double edge, I think. And you do feel the blade moving in the handle, which is, yeah, like I said, you can't hear it and it's too subtle to see, but you can feel it. And if nothing else, that's just really distracting. So bottom line, they need to make this thing 25% bigger overall. This design 25% bigger that you can really get a grip on would be good. As it is, it's a collection knife. For me, it's going to go in my collection. I'll get it out and play with it every once in a while because it is fun to play with. But it is not very useful. Could you carry it as a personal protection blade? Sure. You can carry a kitchen knife for that. Is this better than a kitchen knife for that? Yes. But no, I mean, it's not the worst knife I have, but it's way, way far from the best. It's far, far from the best knife I have. And it's a little disappointing. Now, I bought it because I was really curious about Tact Force fixed plates, because as I said, for the, I would probably say Tact Force is in the top 3 or 4 budget folding knives. Well, let's say super budget folding knives, okay, of $20 or less. And you can get useful knives for that price when it comes to folders. I paid, I believe, $24.97 or something like this at Atlantic Knife. They want $31 for it now. I've seen this as high as $40. Do not pay $40 for this thing. I would say don't pay anything more than 25. I would prefer have not to have paid 20 or under. Definitely not worth anything over $25. Uh, Even though it passed everything, it's just its design makes it limits its use. Put this in a Kydex holster and make it a boot knife, it would be far better off. Marking it as any kind of a tactical or outdoor, or and there's that word, tactical. Tactical, mark it as a tactical outdoor knife, no. Could you use this as a hunting knife to skin with? Yeah, but the blade isn't really suited for that. These quillins would get in the way. The blood would get on the rubber and in the grooves, and it would be horrible to clean. No. If you like the way, and like I said, I got this based on looks. It looks cool. So if you're a collector and you want something like this, yeah, but my hopes were that it was going to be really, it was going to be really good by TAC Force, and they were going, the Evolution line was going to put out some affordable fixed blades that you could actually use. That was my hopes. My expectations were much lower. TAC Force, as I said, isn't a bad company, but it's a budget company, and this was designed, in my mind, as far as I'm concerned, for teenagers. When I was looking for it, my inner teenager came out. I was like, I pictured myself, on a weekend in high school, just before my buddies and I sat down to play Dungeons and Dragons or Travelers or something. Yeah, I'm that kind of a nerd. But I would show them this, and then this would actually make a good prop for something like Traveler or Shadowrun or something like that. It's got that high-tech look. Be so a good mood piece when you're gaming that way. But honestly, unless you carry it for personal protection, it's not worth much. And there are knives out there that are much, much better for personal protection. Can I recommend this knife? Yeah, if you just want something that looks cool and something fun, it accomplishes that. Can I recommend it as a useful knife? Yeah, you can use it. You could probably make this work as a camp knife or a trail knife or a personal protection knife. I would highly recommend having a Kydex sheath made for it for quick deployment and more carry options. But this knife really isn't good at anything. It's good for some things, I suppose you could make it work. But even for the money you pay for it, which, like I said, I think I paid like 25 bucks. This, a lot of my other knives are in my carry rotation, are in that price range. I'll carry them. I'm not going to carry this for anything. In the collection, take it out, practice with it, play with it, flip it around, because it is pretty wieldy. It's got good handling qualities, except this quillin does get in the way sometimes with the flip, but the flip and the twirl will work well. If you're a collector and you want something a little unique, because I do think this is kind of a unique design, that's the way it goes for it. But honestly, if you're going to get one, see if you can find it cheap. I think, and I'm not sure, that this hasn't been around very long. I have never seen TAC Force fixed blades before. That doesn't mean they weren't out there. That just means I hadn't picked them up on my radar. If you see this at like a flea market or a secondhand store or somebody's yard sale and you can pick it up for 5 or 10, yeah, great. But anything more than about $20, unless you're a collector and you really like the way it looks, no. So I've rambled on about that enough. I will now leave you with my usual admonishment. 2. Draw your knives only in just purpose. Sheathe them only with honor, and to remember that without knives, life would be dull and pointless. Please like, share, and subscribe. Help me feed the algorithm. All hail the algorithm. And grow the channel. And with that, I give you a goodbye.